But a lot going on here on the roast on a Friday. You told me you enjoyed Willard yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And Lucas Alexander, the producer for Willard at Dibs, was blowing me up to get me on the show. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about my tweet with Willard at Dibs. And we'll get to quarterbacks a little bit later.
Okay.
But I was wondering, did you guys talk quarterbacks?
No, I came in to smoke the peace pipe with everyone and just chill everything. I'm like, guys, it's June. You know what I mean? Like, let's let it go, And I don't think anybody means anything malicious or anything like that. It's just, he thinks one way, you think another. I think there's some interpretation issues regarding the quarterback if you haven't been listening. And I think you put out a tweet that might have been misinterpreted. He maybe has said some things based off the misinterpretation of the tweet that maybe we misinterpreted. And so it's like, guys,
Listen,
it's June.
One thing I haven't talked about is
What's
the
that?
Dinkin and Duncan. I know everybody's talking about is Brock Purdy a dink and dunk quarterback. Look, man, I have not gotten into that.
Isn't
Nor do I
Brady kind of
care.
a dink and dunker?
Brady, James White won an MVP in the Super Bowl, catching 14 passes out of the backfield.
That's what I'm saying.
Anybody remember Kevin Falk?
Yeah.
Anybody ever remember Deion
LSU
White?
LSU boy?
LSU, yeah, Kevin Falk.
Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
Ben
Lest we
Jarvis,
forget.
Green Ellis. I mean, come on, man. Steven Brady was a check down king. Montana checked down. That was a West Coast offense. It's okay to check down. You take what's given to you. Why do you think Christian McCaffrey made this offense take another step? Because you can check it down to Christian McCaffrey and get your 7 yards instead of 2nd and 3, 3rd and 2, whatever it is. Who cares whether or not Brock Purdy is a dink and dunk quarterback? The fact is, Brock Purdy got it done. All right? And when he needed to stretch the field, I thought he threw some great deep passes. The one that George Kittle gets the Commander. So again, people want to misinterpret the tweet. Brock Purdy's a QB1 right now. But if Trey comes out hot, we got a conversation. That's all I'm saying. My whole thing is we dismiss Trey Lance. We've seen 4 games from him.
Yeah.
We cannot judge Trey Lance off of 4 games. But can we judge Sam Darnold off of 5 years? I think so. We've had 5 years of data with Sam Darnold. The narrative for Trey Lance and Sam Darnold is completely different. It's Sam Darnold hasn't played with anybody. Well, when Trey Lance has played, who's he played with? That's all. But let's start with the NBA Finals.
And that spicy take was brought to you by Cherry Chipotle Hot Sauce from Lucky Dog.
Cherry Chipotle
No, I'm just
Hot
teasing.
Sauce.
But if
Lucky
you want to
Dog.
do something like that, honestly, if you want to be a part of this show and you want to support us here, email me at joe@957thegame. Email me at joe@957thegame if you have a business and you'd like to do some sponsorships or you'd like to do something and get incorporated and have some of your products pitched out here. Because I mean, that's how Guru got put the rat on the table sponsored. I mean, that's how we do this bad boy.
Echo Pet Control.
Exactly.
Pest Control. But it took about 6 years for them to come on board. Because Guru's had rats every year for 6 years. Echo Pest Control.
My grandpa had rats at his place, and it's not good.
No, it's not good.
It's not good.
at all. It's not good at all. But no, I was getting blown up yesterday. I was like, I am chilling with Baby Chaz.
Oh.
And I had to run up to the O Club to shake some hands and meet some people yesterday
Nice.
for a quick second. It's like, I'm not coming on the afternoons to talk to Mark Willard about quarterbacks. We just disagree on takes. We disagree. I don't want to have my afternoon. I am taking a break. I am unplugging. And Baby Chaz was running material yesterday. So that's what it was all about before the NBA Finals yesterday. I just kept watching Denver with the Warriors in mind. How can you not watch the Denver Nuggets with the Warriors in mind?
I think I'm worried
Well,
about moving forward, like regardless of what happens in this series. And I feel Denver's in a really good spot here. Bonte, this is a really formidable team.
no, this team's going to be in the West for a long time. And they're going to be a problem in the West for a long time, I should say. Jokic is 27 years old?
Yeah, and I feel like he can play like this for a while.
All right, so Jokic, how old is Jokic? Jokic is Nikola Jokic.
28.
He's 28 years old.
Okay.
Jamal Murray. You look at Jamal Murray, feels like he's been in the
26?
league forever. 26 years old.
Okay.
Aaron Gordon feels like he's been in the league
27?
forever. 27. Michael Porter Jr., 24.
Wow.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 30. Still playing well. All right. Bruce Brown, 26 years old.
He's only 26. Wow.
They're giving Christian Brown, the young man out of Kansas who won a national championship with the Kansas Jayhawks, he's 22. This team is young, and they're not going anywhere. And Jokic dominated a basketball game yesterday. He went in the fourth quarter with 5 shot attempts and controlled the entire basketball game.
It was very Jason Kidd-esque, wasn't it?
Jason Kidd, Magic. I mean, who else? Steve Nash. I mean, Tim Duncan-ish. This guy dominated the entire basketball game.
And I would even put Anthony Davis in that category, but he did it more defensively against the Golden State Warriors, where it felt like he didn't even have to do much offensively.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, this guy dominated the basketball game. And I'm thinking about the Golden State Warriors. Okay, Bob Myers has moved on. And we're going to miss Bob Myers a lot, tremendously. The impact of him on this basketball team. And I think one thing we didn't do yesterday, Marcus Thompson II wrote a great athletic article sending off Bob Myers saying he was one of us. He was the Bay Area. He was part of this community. And what he did to connect the roster to the head coach, to the ownership group, and make all the tough decisions, Bob Myers is going to be missed. But whoever comes into play, whether it's Mike Dunleavy Jr. or whoever becomes the GM when they go to State Warriors, what you have to do now is retool to load up to beat the Denver Nuggets.
I agree.
That's the team. That is problem number one in the Western Conference. Now, the Lakers aren't going anywhere. We'll see what happens with the Clippers. Minnesota, they got to make some moves here. Memphis, we heard from Adam Silver yesterday that Ja Morant, after the NBA Finals, he's going to make a decision on Ja Morant. It sounds like it's going to be pretty harsh. It sounds like Ja Morant's going to miss plenty of time. Sacramento, they're going to be around, right? They're a pesky team. They finished third in the Western Conference. We got to give them credit for that. How do the Warriors retool to beat the Denver Nuggets? Because we got a Nuggets problem here, Sasky. Jokic is going nowhere.
Well, and not only is Jokic going nowhere, but you would think if you were going to come up with a list of guys who could at least slow him down a little, wouldn't Bam be at the top of that list?
Absolutely.
I mean he was just passing right over the top of Bam.
I mean, he made Anthony Davis look like a traffic cone.
So, like, what?
So I don't know what I don't think you can stop the guy. The guy's averaging a triple-double throughout this postseason run.
And then I also like what they did defensively against the Miami Heat, where they're like, oh, Bam Adebayo's, fourth best ability is shooting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's make him be a guy who shoots 24, 25 times in a game. And that's not going to be the most efficient way that they run offense. So he has really good IQ, Jokic does, in terms of picking and choosing the spots. I just don't know, B. Like, I don't know, like, what you do against him, man. I don't think you can. Like, I keep coming back to this.
You can't stop him.
I keep coming back to this. You can't do both. You can't run it back with the big three and think that you're still in the championship zone.
No,
because I just don't think that's good enough.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good enough for this rendition of the Denver Nuggets.
And yes, that's what I mean. Like, looking at who you're going to have to go through, I just don't see if that, and I don't think that's me, like, you're hating on the big three. I think it's me being reasonable and understanding, like, they're in their primes, they're ascending, you're declining, and not saying it's over. I'm saying you're just slightly declining. You're not the same team. You make a lot more than what they make, so putting your roster together becomes trickier. Man, I don't know, B. That when I look at their length, right? Michael Porter Jr. didn't shoot well at all last night.
No.
Okay? He got the 12 rebounds.
Yep.
He's playing defense when I thought he was a turnstile defensively.
I thought the Lakers would pick on him.
Me too.
Telling Spinoni, I was like, Michael Porter Jr., this ain't the series for him. And he completely fooled me.
And then you see Aaron Gordon and him. So now you have a front court of Jokic, Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon. That's a lot of length.
A lot of length and a lot of physicality.
And what's the one area where you look at the Warriors right now, you're like, they don't have a lot of length.
Not a lot of physicality either. That's the thing.
That, to me, is a double whammy.
Well, you get Aaron Gordon, who's had to defend Kevin Durant.
Yep.
LeBron James, AD at times, Karl Anthony Towns, sometimes on Anthony Edwards, and now he's guarding Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was nowhere to be found yesterday. Himmy was not Himmy. Well, Jimmy was just ordinary.
Bring up what was the quote you sent to the chat this morning? Because I think we talked about what are the characteristics that you're looking for in a GM, and I just think for this team moving forward, talent is so important. Everyone talks about talent. I think even more important than talent to me is fit.
Well,
and I think that's what I'm like for assessing who can play on this team moving forward.
Right. Well, Nikola Jokic after the game yesterday said the best thing that Aaron Gordon did by way of San Jose, Archbishop Mitty, shout out to them. The best thing that he did was accept his role, which is be a defender, cutter, slasher, play the dunker role, and do all the dirty work. Aaron Gordon is completely bought in, and he's 3 games away from an NBA championship. Now, do the Warriors need guys to buy into their roles? Absolutely. But here's my pushback on that.
Okay.
It is tough to buy into a role when you have a revolving door of starting lineups. The Warriors had over, I think, 25 different starting lineups this season, including the playoffs.
Because of
injuries,
inconsistency, injuries, availability, age.
Wiggins left for 25 games.
Yeah.
Kaminga's role
There's
was
a lot of
23 minutes
why,
a game, and then he gets to the playoffs and he doesn't play at all.
Let me ask you this, because I think it's a very, very good point, and I think it's a fair point. Can you expect consistent roles when you have Clay and Dre and Steph, and all of them are older? They're not going to play all 82. We have to also acknowledge the reality. And if you want the best out of them, I don't think you want them playing all 82.
No, you don't.
So you're going to have evolution of roles on a night-to-night basis. So isn't that have to be baked into how you assemble your roster?
You thought that was going to be the case this year.
Yeah.
I thought that was baked in, and then they start off 3-7. And 0-5 on the road, and it was like, well, abort mission. We're playing the veterans heavy minutes now.
Yeah.
So you want that to happen. You would expect that to happen, but it didn't happen. And so all the roles, like we talk about Jordan Poole, the combination of roles he had to play, it's very tough to find a consistent rhythm. Klay Thompson, listen, Klay Thompson was horrible in the playoffs. Horrible. And I'll admit that on the front end. It's horrible against the LA Lakers. I almost threw up watching him shoot those shots at the end of game 4. But his role changed. We forget that just because he started every game, but in the pecking order, I think if Andrew Wiggins is around, I think he is slotted as that number 3 option because the Warriors would get Wiggins going early. Remember last year and early this year, Wiggins would have hot first quarters. Get Wiggins going early, let him carry the offensive load, and then Steph kind of finds his way in the game, let the game come to him alongside Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson had to be the number 1 option for 2-3 straight months, all right? Steph comes back, and I remember you told me, you go, man, Stephen Curry's kind of messed up the rhythm a little bit.
He did.
And Klay had
but
to
no
take
one
a
wants
step
to
back.
say that because he's Steph, and I get
Steph.
it. It sounds absurd to say out loud.
Yep.
But it is. There is a trickle down effect.
But outside of
Yes.
Draymond Green
Yes.
and Stephen Curry, everybody's roles change.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody. So if you don't have a consistent role throughout the season, and then you get into the playoffs, and it's the same thing. Wiggins comes off the bench. Oh, wait, Draymond comes off the bench. Oh, wait, Looney comes off the bench. Oh, wait, we're going to start DiVincenzo. Oh, wait, we're not going to start DiVincenzo.
We're going to start 2 bigs all year, but then in the playoffs, depending on matchup, we're going to go 1 big lineup. That's why I know everyone lost their minds when I said Dre needs to accept that he's going to be the lone 5, like a small ball 5, because I do think that playing all year one way and then getting into the playoffs and then completely aborting mission after 1 or 2 games, how does that help anyone?
Yeah, so with the Warriors, when I look back at the season and we played the blame game of this guy, but after just taking a step back, and the Warriors haven't played basketball in a few weeks now, it was hard to define any role. Nobody had a role defined on this team. DiVincenzo went from starting to playing well to, oh, wait, GP2's back. Now I'm seeing less run. Now I'm not playing much. Now I'm seeing only 12 minutes in the game. GP2 was starting. Then he's coming off the bench. Then he's starting. Then he's coming off the bench playing 5 minutes. So the Warriors, 1, had to figure out a way to combat the Denver Nuggets, how to get bigger, longer, more athletic, and 2, define everybody's role. Now, again, you can't help injuries. Injuries happen. Guys stepping away. We never anticipated Andrew Wiggins stepping away for 25 games.
No, I don't think he did either.
But it happened, and roles change. So moving forward, we have a Denver Nuggets problem.
Well, I agree.
Because Nikola Jokic looks like he's going to be Tim Duncan, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon. You can't stop this guy. You can't.